Hi, I'm Mina Roby. I'm a health and wellness coach, and today we're going to make a traditional classic chicken noodle soup. And you are going to be so hopefully surprised and pleased at how simple this is. It does take a little bit of time, so it'll be about an hour and a half total cooking time. That's your prep time and your cooking time, so just keep that in mind, but it's super simple. It's two phases. We're going to make the stock and cook the chicken first. This is what's going to go in our stock. We'll get back to that in a second. And then after that's cooked and after the chicken's cooked, the stock is made and strained, then we're just going to add our egg noodles, carrots, and celery. And it's that simple, and our other seasonings. So I want to show you first how you make the stock. We've got a big pot with water in it. These are chicken leg quarters. I've rinsed them off. No need to season them because we're going to put some really heavy seasonings in the stock here. And this is what is going to be the liquid, the base of our chicken noodle soup. So the leg quarters are going to go in. This is 3 big leg quarters. You can get them in any grocery store, any meat market at all. They're really versatile cut of meat. We're going to add, we're just going to add some big chunks of celery and onion to season our stock, but this will be strained out after the chicken is done. So some big chunks of onion and celery. Lots of salt and pepper. Here's our salt. Remember, this looks like a lot of salt, but it's seasoning a big pot of stock. Quite a bit of black pepper. And to add a little bit more flavor to it, we're going to add some poultry seasoning, which is also a super great, versatile seasoning, especially when you're cooking with poultry. This is going to go into our stock. And some thyme leaves. This adds a really neat flavor to it too. In it goes. Okay. We're going to turn this pot on. It's going to take a while. You see how much is in here. I've mixed water and the chicken and things in here. So it's going to take a few minutes for this to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to cover it and then turn it down and let it simmer for about 45 minutes. That gives time for the chicken to cook. We want the chicken to cook completely and then get all those nice flavors and seasonings in the stock. And then we'll strain the stock and then continue with making our soup. Thanks. All right, our chicken has cooked for 45 minutes, and I actually let it sit in the pot here for about 15 minutes, just to cool off a little bit. So we're gonna dip the chicken out now. Remember, these are leg quarters, which is the leg and the thigh together. Oh, they smell fantastic. The broth smells wonderful. I don't know if you can see how rich this is. And remember, the only vegetables we put in there, we put some celery and onions in there, and then some thyme, some poultry seasoning, and some salt and pepper just to liven up that broth. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip the chicken out, and then we're going to get the other solids out, which are the vegetables. And we're going to discard those and strain the broth. And I'm going to show you just for a second how we're going to strain the broth. All right, we're going to start by straining our broth. First, we're going to get our strainer and get out the big chunks of the vegetables. Remember that we put in here. It'll just make it a little bit easier when we're actually straining our broth into our other pot. All right, we're going to kind of help it out a little bit. You see how rich and gorgeous it is? And you also see what we're getting out. The benefits of cooking the chicken leg quarters in there is also having the benefit of the flavors of the bones and the skin. Now, we're not going to have the bones and the skin in our soup, but they add a lot of richness to the broth, which remember is the base of our soup. All right, now this is a strainer. We're going to pour our broth through it into the big pot to get any other. Let me show you. You see what we've already gotten out. These are some deposits and things that we don't really want in our broth. We like it a little bit clearer than that. So we're going to pour our broth through the strainer and get out any other deposits that are in there. Oh, I really do. I have to be one of those people to say I wish you could smell this, but you will be smelling it when you make this yourself. Got a little trick for you over here on how to strain the broth if you don't have one of these strainers. But the strainers are really easy to find, and they're very affordable too. It's not a fancy kitchen tool, and you'll use it a lot. All right. broth is going to go back in our big pot. Then we're going to turn the heat back on under our big pot, and we're going to add the carrots and the celery into the broth and let it start cooking. We're going to cook the carrots and the celery for about 15 minutes on their own. And then while that's cooking, while the carrots and the celery are cooking, I'm going to bone and skin the chicken. And we'll pull it off in big pieces, and not too big because you want to be able to eat it with soup. But I'm going to bone and skin the chicken. We're going to discard the bones and the skin, and then we'll add that back in with the broth, and then our noodles. Oh, and our other spices too. We'll add some more seasonings. Thanks. We're adding our carrots and our celery to the broth that's been strained. So we're going to get all this in here. The celery and the carrots are going to cook for about 15 minutes on their own. I'm also going to add some more spices. We're going to add some more salt and pepper that we added to the broth before. And because it smells so wonderful, I'm going to put some more thyme in there too because it smells just lovely. But we saw those spices before. So when the spices go, we're going to bring this back up to a simmer, up to a boil, and then turn it down to a simmer. Put the lid on it and let it cook for about 15 minutes. And during that time, that's when we're going to bone and skin the chicken and get it into good bite-sized pieces. And the chicken will go back in, and then our egg noodles. Okay, our carrots and celery have been cooking for 15 minutes in our strained, seasoned broth. And now we're boning the chicken. I've already done a couple of the leg quarters, but I want to show you what it looks like when you actually bone a chicken. You're going to pull the skin off. And this is cooked so beautifully in the broth that it just completely falls apart. So it's really easy. You're just going to pull all of the meat off of the bone. Be careful to get all the bones and the cartilage out. So here we go. We're getting our beautiful chicken, and this is the same way you use a chicken when you're making chicken in dressing or any kind of chicken casserole. This is exactly what you do. You're going to cook your chicken in whatever broth you do, and then pull the bones and the skins off. But remember, if you can, use pieces of chicken when you're making something like this that does have skin and bones because it adds a lot of flavor to it. Okay, we're going to chop this up a little bit. Got a little bit more here to do. And also I wanted to remind you that there will be full written recipes with these videos, so you don't have to worry about writing down all of the measurements or specifically any of the instructions that we're talking about today, because there'll be full written videos for you to do that too. And I decided also to add a little bit of parsley to our final product. So here's the parsley. I'm going to chop it up just a little bit. We're going to add the chicken and the parsley. I just want you to see what fresh parsley looks like. It is a really special flavor to add to your soups, especially soups and pastas. Okay, let's add the chicken to our broth. And this is what you call a full rolling boil, if you want to see inside there. Our carrots and celery have been cooking in there a while. We're going to put our chicken in, return it to our pot. This is soup, guys. This is soup. We are making chicken noodle soup. All right, and here is the noodle part. These are medium-sized egg noodles. It is about 3/4 of a full bag of it, which I think is a pound, but that'll also be in the instructions. So we're going to add our egg noodles here to our soup. It's no longer broth, now it's soup. Get everything stirred around. It'll come back up to a full rolling boil of what you just saw. We're going to turn it down again, let it simmer for about 15 minutes. What that does is just cook the noodles, and then we are going to have a beautiful, beautiful bowl of chicken soup. Our noodles have been simmering in our beautiful soup for 15 minutes, and now they're done, and I cannot wait for you to see it. We are going to add the parsley. It's an herb that you find in the produce department. It looks like this in the produce department. You find it comes in a bunch, and we shaved some off and chopped it up. So now we're just going to toss that in with our pot. You see inside how beautiful our soup is. So we have chicken noodle soup, guys. a traditional classic chicken noodle soup. All right. This soup is made with all whole foods. Whole chicken, carrots, celery, our spices are just whole real foods. Remember, we made our broth with water and some vegetables and spices. Strain that. We do have a package. We have our packaged egg noodles, but they're totally fine. They're not too processed. I'm just gonna get a bowl out and let you guys see what our beautiful soup looks like. Up. He'll get really in close here too. There you go. Here it is. Your classic chicken noodle soup. I hope you love it. Thanks.